All right, so we see the stat line for Caitlin Clark. She's averaging 21.6 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and then if we go down, she's averaging a block as well. 5 turnovers right now, 43% from the field, 36 from the 3. What shooting that is. And then she's doing 72 from the free throw. Definitely want her to get that up. But we see the stats, right? We see the stats. Now, if we go to ESPN, Caitlin Clark is nowhere to be found. Caitlin Clark is nowhere to be found.
Caitlin Clark is out here making rookie history in real time, but according to the official WNBA leaderboards, you'd think she was just on a sightseeing tour. No points, no assists, just vibes. Either someone spilled invisible ink on the stat sheet, or the league is suddenly shy about giving her credit. Let's be real, forgetting the most talked about player in the league isn't a clerical error, it's a choice, and not a great one. So buckle up, we're unpacking the bizarre, almost comical situation where the WNBA seems to be ghosting Caitlin Clark's stats like a bad breakup. But here's the twist. This rookie isn't fading into the background. She's leading whether the numbers show it or not.
And Reese remain 2 of the most popular players in the WNBA. However, it's Clark who holds the edge when it comes to viewership and attendance rating. When you say hold the edge, that makes it seem like it's a small margin. No. It's a severe lead. It is a significant gap between the two when it comes to viewership and attendance. Edge, not the best choice of words in this instant. Yet the Women's National Basketball Players Association, the union for current women's professional basketball players in the WNBA, recently decided against Clark. Shocker.
Just when the WNBA stat sheet saga couldn't get any weirder, ESPN jumps in only not to clear things up, but to bury Caitlin Clark's numbers like they're classified information. You'd think the self-proclaimed worldwide leader in sports could manage to spotlight a rookie who's literally changing the game, maybe even mention that she's dominating. But instead, it's like they flipped the switch, dimmed the spotlight, and pretended no one was home right as Clark knocks on the door of greatness. It's not just a missed update. It's the digital equivalent of hiding the receipts while the whole world is watching.
I think she would be right in this area, number 2. And I get it, these players have played more games, cool. But fam, if that is the case, why is Caitlin Clark right here at 3 points made? Why is she right here at 3 points made? If that is the case, she would be completely off of the list, right? She would be gone, wiped off, if it was all about the games. Why is she right here? Right? This looks disingenuous, man. I'm just keeping it a grain. We know who has the most assists right now. You have Paige Beckers up here. We know who has more assists, who's averaging the most assists right now, and you have Paige Beckers right here. Come on, fam. Like, I'm just saying, man. This don't look disingenuous.
Browse through ESPN's site, and it starts to feel like a game of hide-and-seek-X. The only thing hiding is Caitlin Clark's stats, and ESPN's acting like they've forgotten how math works, looking for top performers in assists or scoring efficiency. Good luck. Clark's name is nowhere in sight, but the moment you click on turnovers, boom, there she is, front and center. Like they've been saving her spot in the penalty box. It's almost like ESPN is saying, "Oh, you're looking for Clark? Yeah, she's over there with the troublemakers."
Hope to God that eventually we find out that maybe Caitlin Clark was asked to do this and maybe she said no, because if that's not the case, then the WNBA and the Players Association, the WNBA PA, and the league, to be honest, continue to disrespect the far and away biggest draw that this women's hoops league's got that they've ever seen.
Differently, Caitlin Clark's stats have been quietly reassigned to the penalty box. Forget the fact that she's setting records, lifting an entire franchise, and leaving defenders looking like toddlers tangled in a leash. According to ESPN's number crunchers, the only stat that matters is how many times she's turned the ball over, not her jaw-dropping assists, not her deep-range scoring, just the giveaways, as if that's the full story. It's not analysis, it's tunnel vision. And Clark, she deserves better than a stat sheet stuck on repeat.
Jealousy and sheer incompetence are going to be the three main reasons why the WNBA never reaches the popularity, never reaches the shine that they think they deserve. Stubbornness, incompetence, and jealousy are going to be the reasons why Caitlin Clark remains at the mountaintop and nobody else ends up even being close to joining her up there. And it's all the WNBA, the players, the executives, Kathy Engelbert. It is all their fault. They're far too jealous. They're far too stubborn. And from a business sense, they are all far too incompetent. What am I talking about?
So let's get this straight. That's the stat ESPN chose to spotlight. Turnovers. The spreadsheet level pettiness is unreal. It's like someone typed Caitlin Clark into the system, panicked, and hit delete out of spite. The irony. This is the same network that can summon a stat graphic for an NFL player who so much as sneezes in the red zone. But when Caitlin Clark is racking up double-doubles, packing arenas, and single-handedly boosting WNBA viewership, suddenly, she's hard to find, like she wandered into the wrong database. Let's be clear. The numbers exist. They're there. You just have to scroll 6 tabs deep, solve a logic puzzle, and maybe sacrifice a spreadsheet to the data gods. Up front, where most fans actually look, Clark is practically invisible. Meanwhile, players with half her numbers and a fraction of her influence are front and center, treated like royalty. This isn't just an oversight, it's selective visibility, dressed up with fancy filters and technical issues. And the kicker. ESPN has every tool in the world, live trackers, AI projections, interactive stats, but somehow Caitlin's numbers keep vanishing like she's a glitch in the matrix. At this point, even the intern uploading the box scores seems to have caught the "let's pretend she's not real" virus. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they know that if the full scope of her stats ever went public, the internet might actually break.
Come on, man. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense right here, man. Angel Reese still top dog in the rebounds. And even with Jonquel missed games. She missed some games. And she's still on the list. What's going on? What's going on with this, man? Let me see, who else? Boston doing a good job. She's in the top 5. Oh, tied number 4. Okay, I see you. Boston doing a good job. Steals. We got Gabby Williams. Gabby's been going crazy. And the feed, Asia. And then they got Paige Beckers on there. Fam, let me actually, hold on, let me see. I'm going to click complete leaders. Let me see if they don't have Caitlin anywhere.
Here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark's stats do show up, just not where you'd expect. If you're curious enough to dig through ESPN's site, you'll find her in the turnovers tab. Apparently, that's the only place they think she belongs. It's like hosting a talent show and assigning Beyoncé to clean up duty just because someone didn't like her sparkle. Sure, Clark's name gets casually mentioned when it suits the storyline, but when it's time to stack her next to her peers, suddenly, everyone forgets how to use a filter. At this point, it's not an oversight. It's a magic trick, a full production of statistical misdirection. Not just one mistake, but a coordinated vanishing act, where her achievements disappear behind a curtain of apathy. Oh, we forgot her again? How many times can that excuse fly before it starts to sound like the plan all along? And let's talk about those turnovers for a second, because if that's the only stat getting her screen time, someone's clearly been waiting to pounce. The Clark turnover tracker feels less like analysis and more like a gotcha campaign. But here's a thought. Every rookie turns the ball over. It's called a learning curve. Magic Johnson did it. Sue Bird did it. Ever heard of development? Apparently not, because in Clark's case, they're acting like she's hurling balls into the stands between logo threes. Let's be real. Her turnovers don't cancel out her brilliance. They prove she's carrying the weight of this moment, learning in real time, under more scrutiny than anyone in recent memory. And somehow, she's still standing still, shining.
Gave the exact abuse that they're giving Caitlin Clark right now to Sabrina Ionescu. Like, let's be real, you can look, if you read what some of these things have said about Sabrina Ionescu before Caitlin Clark walked in the league, but now they have the new bully victim. And it's so funny looking at it where you're like, all these, it's so clear that these people, it's just an anti-Caitlin people, because it's like an enemy of my enemy is my friend, where it's like, they are these individual pages where you look at the players they hype up, and Paige Beckers, and by the way, by all accounts, Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark are friends. They'll have their profile's Angel Reese, and the players are going to hype up as Paige Beckers because she is a rival to Caitlin Clark. And let's be real, that's an actual rivalry. Paige Beckers is really damn good.
What they don't show you is that Caitlin Clark is running the offense like a seasoned veteran while being trapped, bumped, and nearly bulldozed every single night. What they won't say is that she's leading a team that couldn't buy a win before she arrived, that she's juggling playmaking, pressure, and sky-high expectations all at once. Instead, they slap a turnover stat on the screen like it's her resume. Let's be honest, if that's your only angle, you're not doing analysis, you're running a campaign. It's not journalism, it's bias in a spreadsheet. Meanwhile, players with lower efficiency, fewer assists, and half the spotlight somehow rise up ESPN's leaderboards like cream in a rigged coffee machine. They get praised for effort, while Clark's 25-point games are treated like figments of the imagination. She's outplaying veterans decisively and still being treated like she snuck into the league without an invite. And yet, she keeps showing up, keeps dropping dimes, keeps pulling up from the logo like she's got Steph Curry on speed dial. Clark isn't just participating in the league, she's shaping its future. But ESPN's over here playing peekaboo with her stats, like the truth might be too much to handle. Here's a reality check. If your most watched games all have one name in common, maybe it's time to acknowledge that player exists outside of the turnover column. And this isn't just about ESPN, it trickles down. When the biggest sports network downplays her, talk shows follow. Pundits act confused about the hype. Suddenly, we're living in this bizarre narrative where Caitlin Clark is both the most talked about player in the country and somehow not good enough to appear in the rankings. It doesn't add up. And maybe that's the problem. They know if the numbers were shown fairly, everyone else would know it too.